with this. And in context, we also talked about a little bit as well, right? You know, the S&M thing, right? Somebody can be getting whips and chains and beat up and making blood, and they'd be like, I'm paying for this because I love it. And somebody else, just the sight of that, okay, it's going to hurt a lot. But it goes beyond that as well, right? So the pianist that jams his finger in the door is going to be a lot more stressed out and worried than if the soccer player jams his finger in the door, right? Because this is what I depend on to live with. This is how I earn my living. This is what people think of me. This is what I identify with. I'm a pianist. So the context of the pain will be different. And the same can be said for even the context of the threat response to the body at the time. So there was a surfer quite a few years ago in the U.S., a female surfer who got bit by a shark and lost her arm. Right? Now, if you think about that woman, that girl in the water when she got bit by the shark and it got her arm, she had really two basic options. One would be, I'm going to scream in pain, or I'm going to get the hell out of the water before this thing actually eats the rest of me and I die. Right? So the likelihood of her experiencing very much pain, even with a shark bite, while she was trying to escape the shark, was negligible. Probably didn't feel a whole lot of pain. People always say adrenaline, right, when things like that happen. And there's probably adrenaline present, but that's not the only thing. The brain knows that if I decide to let this pain do what it does, which is protect me and keep me from using it again, I'm going to die. So instead, I think it's a better idea that I kick and swim and do whatever I can, scream for help to get away from the threat, because the pain doesn't serve me. Now, when you get me on the beach and put me in the ambulance, I'm going to be screaming in pain because I've just had my arm ripped off, right? But up to that point, there's going to be a lot of what the brain has said, look, yes, it's dangerous, but it's not as dangerous as that thing with the big teeth that just took a big chunk out of your arm, right? Another story that I'll often use with my clients is that imagine you were hiking with some friends and you're out somewhere where the weather gets bad, it's getting into the wintertime, and we have this in the Southern California mountains. It might be beautiful early in the day and when you're down low, but start to get up and it gets later, it starts to get really cold and dark in the wintertime, and you get split up from your friends. And the snow starts to come down and the temperature's dropping, and you've slid down the side of a path and didn't know because you couldn't see it. And you get down there and you can see a bone sticking out of your leg. Now the weather's dropping below freezing. You're by yourself, it's getting dark, and you're separated from your group. Again, you have two choices. I can lay here and let this pain take over me, and then of course the organism as a whole is going to die because I'm going to freeze to death. Or I can get myself up the side of the mountain and crawl back, which is what a lot of people do. They'll say, well, it was the adrenaline. It was the brain saying, you're either going to, the whole thing's going to die, including me, or we're going to get you back. And then you get back to see your friends, and they're like, where were you? Oh my God, look at your leg. And you fall on the ground, squealing in pain, because now the pain is okay, and the protective mechanism can happen. So that's context, right? Now that's extreme context, but it's still context in terms of how the brain interprets the threat, the danger of what's going on, what's giving a hierarchy of what's most important. Just like the brain gives a hierarchy of safety when you got on the cortex for the first time, right? First thing you wanted to be a little bit stiff and tight because you thought this is different, the floor is doing something different that it's never done to you before, right? And then once that layer goes down of safety, it becomes another layer of safety based on what you do next.